Maritime Matters is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense
It is
Force.
very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
And pleasant good evening to you, our valued listening audience. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain, and it's been 3 weeks, 3 long weeks that I have not been in studio. My apology to you who've been calling those repeated shows, but you can call tonight because I'm here live, living color, kicking, and you know how that go. We coming to you live via Love 97 FM. This is Tuesday, the 19th day of November, 2024. And if it's a Tuesday, it's Maritime Tick, 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 Tick Matters. We encourage that if you're driving and you're tuned in with us, please do so cautiously. As they say, drive to arrive alive, and ensure to take your time getting wherever it is you are going safely. Our sponsors for the night show are 101 Pharmacy, also Island Care Pharmacy. For all your medication needs, check out my good little cousin Shantia McBride and a lovely team at 101 Pharmacy in Nassau, and Island Care Pharmacy, of course, in the second city of Freeport. Fill your prescription at the store or send your refills via the online site, oneononepharmacy.com. That's all one word, all lowercase, say oneononepharmacy.com. 3 locations, East Street South, right down there in the middle of things. When you go there, tell Joy hello for me. Joy is the pharmacist. Now, the rest of people, one of my boys just told me today, he said, boy, he said, Glenn, man, I always listening to your show. I hear this 101 Pharmacy. Man, I need some stuff, and I go on in there. Mind you, they had what I needed, you know. And it was cheap. So, but I asked him, I tell him, I said, boy, you know, Captain Glenn Bain sent me here. I'm Maritime. And the girl say, she tell me, say, who? He said, Captain Glenn Bain. He always advertised. She ain't know who that is. And then when he's leaving the show, I say to the girl, look at him, and boys are laughing. Man, I know who that is, man. I'm only joking with you. So, look, 101 Pharmacy, tell them Captain Glenn Bain sent you, and they will give you that little thing quick. You could call them in, like I say, get your prescription filled online. So when you get there, just pick up. The second store is on Charles Sanders Highway, and of course, Explorers Way, downtown Freeport. This one is for my big sis. Well, my cousin, but big sis, Steph hangs out. So give her a kiss for me when you see her. Go in there and say, girl, Steph Glenn said I must kiss you. She can't tell you no. Tell her I say so. Boy, Steph, you're me. We are secondly sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. Yes, that's us, BMC. We provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services. And a good night to my good old Auntie May up there in Freeport. That's my good Auntie May, I tell you, boy. 91 years old and going strong. That's how my Auntie May rocking and rolling. And I tell you, boy, she ain't easy. As you all know by now, that's my good old Auntie May. You're listening to Maritime Matters, people. And on this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matters is weekly at 17:05. That's 5:05 p.m. every Tuesday, right here on Love 97 FM. The purpose of our show is to highlight persons that made significant contributions to maritime in the Bahamas and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities. Boy, we can talk about some opportunities tonight. I tell you that. in the maritime sector. We also cover current maritime issues from the domestic and international maritime feeds. Now, we ain't do much with them, but look here, they got, those maritime feeds are so crowded. Man, look here, I only could look at some of them because this show will have to go until tomorrow night this kind of time if I was to try to address all of them, right? So, we can stick with what we stick with tonight. And if you want to introduce some of them, fine. We'll cover them. I read them, I know them, but boy, we ain't got time. This hour and a half ain't allow it. The phone number to call us, should you wish to get in on discussions, and I know you all going to get in on some of these tonight. Don't be shy. 326-8255. Again, the number to call is 326-8255. If you wish to hear a replay of this show or any of our previous shows, simply hit us up at any time via our YouTube page. That's Maritime Matters Bahamas. Again, Maritime Matters Bahamas. And you'll see all our previous shows show up. Just go to YouTube on your electronic device and type in the search box Maritime Matters Bahamas. And you will watch the magic flow. I tell you that. So, let's talk maritime. Hello. Excuse me, good people. Tonight, we have a litany of topics to bring alive. As you may very well be aware, there is a whole lot going on in maritime. Not only in the Bahamas, but the whole world. Topics we aim to engage tonight are as follows. First out of the blocks, opportunities for Bahamians in the maritime industry. And you know, the maritime industry is vast. But in the Bahamas, we got a lot going on. But we got a lot of infiltration too, eh? We want to talk about success stories. People like myself, my boy Herb. I want to talk about Gadites Maritime, Pilots in Freeport, Shipmates Maritime. I got my daughter Misty, Nisha. I mean, we got Bahamians now serving as what the lady became very recently. I think she is on board our CCL ship. She was the very first Bahamian I know to become safety officer. It's not easy to become a safety officer on a cruise ship in particular, because cruise ships pay more attention to safety. They're required to pay more attention to safety than any other ship because they carry the most precious, well, not cargo, the most precious commodity on earth, the humans. They carry humans. All other ships carry cargo. As they say in the Solas Convention, a passenger ship or a cruise ship is a ship that carry more than 12 passengers for hire. More than 12 passengers who pay it. Right? You are now a passenger ship and you got to be treated with kitty gloves. Those safety measures on board cruise ships, and also security measures, I might add, are extremely stringent compared to other type ships or cargo ships. And we got a litany of cargo ships. We got liquid bulk, we got dry bulk, we got containerized cargo, we got car carriers, we got all kind of things going on with cargo, man. Iron ore and anything over 90% of goods that are transferred from one country to the next worldwide are carried by ships. And all that is considered cargo. So they're busy. We got over 50,000 on them out there carrying stuff from one country to the next, right? And then, of course, we want to talk about things like opportunities stemming out of our largest maritime institute in the Bahamas, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. What opportunities these guys would have and females would have once they get out of that organization, whether they resign or retire. We need to talk about it. And we want to compare that with a company like what we used to call marine tankers. You see all those little tankers going around the Bahamas and the region, like Turks and Caicos and Cuba, that's Gitmo, and Jamaica, certain ports, I think it's Kingston. They go to carry fuel from Clifton Pier. It's a lot of them. It's like 7, 8 of those big ships. Big ships. Which you call coastal tankers, eh? And the defense force got ships around the same size. But what we need to know is why these tankers don't break down. And defense force ships are always breaking down. And there is a reason. And I will be more than happy to go into details of that reason when we get back to this topic after the break, eh? So, next up, foreign employment in the Bahamas. Boy, we got to go to town on this one. Now, very recently we saw on the news, well, I saw on the news, and if you was watching the news, you would have seen it on the news, where the Ministry of National Security is extremely concerned at this point about foreigners in the private security industry. Of course, they can't be on the police force and defense force and the prison and customs and immigration. But they can merge into these private companies because some of these private companies, they have owners and operators that are slack. They know that it's wrong and illegal to hire persons without Bahamian status. They know. But in order to pay people less and take advantage of some foreign or non-Bahamians, they decide that's how we can roll. And they hire foreigners in the security industry. Of course, that we got to fix. And what about the transportation industry? You got a call already, boss? Which line? Oh, okay. Calling you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Captain Glenn Bain.
Hey.
Benson, the original. First, let me give thanks to the Almighty God, through Jesus Christ of Nazareth and the Holy Spirit.
Always.
Divine salutations to all my recipients, especially King Charles III and Queen of Consort Camilla.
Always a pleasure to hear you, my dear. Go right ahead.
And Auntie May,
That's what I'm talking about. We got to hail my Auntie May up in Freeport right there.
This is Glenn Bain and your daughters.
Yes?
I want to ask you one question that I need for 1-5.
Yes, darling.
It's the Falkland Island officers. What year they were down at the Defense Force? Because they were a part of some type of I think they were doing some type of special performance down there.
The Falkland Islands. Now Britain left England all the way up in the northeast there, and they crossed the Atlantic to go to the Falkland Islands to fight a war, because the Falkland Islands used to fall, and that's way down by Argentina. You show us the Falkland Islands.
Falkland Island soldiers came down to Defense Force to train. I think that was under, I don't know if it was Davy Rowe, Commander Davy Rowe.
Falkland Islands.
I know they were in, you probably had left already, but you could please find that out. One of the Defense Force officers call in for that.
You sure?
That is to help get our money, especially for our police officers, because some of us didn't get paid for 84, so and still your money outstanding for Defense Force officers, and we have lots of money to accept.
Yes, darling. You know what time it is. But I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to hope that somebody who was still in Defense Force.
The Falkland Island soldiers, I think they trained, they did some training or type of training down there.
Oh,
the year on that, and we would be fit to get everything with.
Not a problem, not a problem. And I'm sure somebody who knows about it, and I can tell you that I never even heard that.
I hung up and listen.
Thank you so much, Lady Berenice. Always good to hear your beautiful voice. Thank you so much. Yes, that's my good friend, Lady Berenice. She's very knowledgeable and all the rest of that. But we move back into our foreign employment in the Bahamas. I'm missing a beat on this one. We talk about the security industry. Of course, with general security personnel being hired illegally. Because as a security, and I run a security company, so I know what is required. And I can tell you, I don't hire them. Right? I ain't got time to play with that because I enter no illegal operations. I do port security and I make sure our people are very well vetted before I put them on these people facilities. So you got some people out there who really don't care about all that. And they don't take the time to go to the Ministry of National Security, Private Security Division and get their officers licensed as required by law on an annual basis. I don't even know if they get their security license if that's the case. Because you need to have officers. But anyway, this show is not all about that. But I know that is hot in the news right now. But we talked about in the past port security. Some of these private islands that the cruise ships own, they got quite a few of them with foreigners as port facility security officers. In other words, the person responsible for ensuring that compliance of the international standards is maintained at that island or that key in the Bahamas. Foreigner in charge. Foreigner deputy. Foreign officers doing what Bahamians supposed to be doing. No, sir. And I have started to speak to those in control of ISPS, the International Ship and Port Facility Security, Bahamas wide. And I give them the heads up. I say, look here, y'all got to fix this. I don't need to hear no excuses. Because anybody can find an excuse for things going wrong. I don't know that. Let them people know. Show me your work permit to do security work on this compound before I finish my inspection. And if you can't show me that, we need to get somebody who's certified, who is legal to do security work in the Bahamas, to be the PFSO and deputy PFSO and security officers on this compound. And that's it. Ain't no questions asked. Now, if they could provide to you, the authorities, and you all know who I'm talking to. All of you all know who I'm talking to. I ain't call no name this time, but don't let me have to call no name. If they could provide, as we Bahamians say, with a permit, a work permit from the Immigration Department stating that they could serve in the capacity of security or port facility security officer or any kind of security in the Bahamas, which is a no-no because that area is reserved for Bahamians. As you heard the gentleman from the Ministry of National Security say on the news recently, that is this security area is reserved for Bahamians. And he went on to say, if you're a spouse of a Bahamian, you might be considered, but that don't make you Bahamian yet. So we're still watching that. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get our country in order. What Bremen Darling Ferguson is saying? We need to fix this problem. Oh, no, they ain't moved us. But Bremen is getting on the case now. But one of those talk show callers, I think anyway, we need to fix the Bahamas, people. We need to fix the Bahamas. And we need to start out in our area. And my area happened to be port security, so I ain't letting it go. That ain't get nowhere to go. So I dare somebody to call and tell me somebody on those private islands who is not a Bahamian supposed to be working in that area. I dare you to call me and tell me you saw a certification or you saw a permit from the Immigration Department with that person's name on it to do security in this country. Anyway, let's move on to hotel security. And I know, and all the Bahamians should know, that very recently, and not only very recently, from time immemorial, days gone by, we had only senior policemen being director of security or the persons in charge of security at these major hotels. But nowadays, you see foreigners poking in. And again, I don't think that these foreigners who poking in have a work permit from the ministry, from immigration department, saying that they are licensed hereby and permitted to do security duties in the Bahamas, whether it be at that hotel or wherever it is. I don't believe they can issue it, because that would be a violation of the Immigration Act. And I know people, oh, the heads of agreement, my foot. The heads of agreement is supposed to violate no law. And if it does, we need to have a look at that. We need to have a look at that. Then we go to security in general. And then we now could move to the transportation industry. Again, transportation industry in the Bahamas is an area reserved for Bahamians only. That's government policy. I know PLP policy, or no F&M policy, or no DNA policy, or no coalition policy. That's the government of the Bahamas, whoever's in the chair at this time or at any time. The government of the day policy. And then we got the mailboats loaded. I talked to one of my friends just recently. I wouldn't even say over the weekend. That's what I want to say though. And he told me, say, Cap, I can tell you, not one person on that mailboat is a Bahamian. And I was like, what you mean? I just letting you know, Bahamians can't cut it. And I said, man, come on, man. What you mean Bahamians can't cut it? All these years, Bahamians used to be on the mailboats. All of a sudden, some people find the mails, and I can tell you, I know when those Filipinos and Hondurans started to come in the Bahamas and infiltrate our mailboat system, because I was in government then. And of course I started to challenge it. And the then director of immigration, and I wouldn't call his name, because he's a good man, but you know, I told him, I said, you all need to go to Port of King, check into this. You know what he told me? The same man who showed me, I think, the first page in the Immigration Act, where it says you have to be a Bahamian to be employed in this country. Otherwise, you need to have a work permit from immigration saying that you are authorized to work in this country. That's in any area. You can't be employed in this country unless you are a Bahamian according to the Immigration Act. So I told him about what's going on these mailboats. And you know what he said to me? Say, Cap, you know, I understand what you're saying, but hey, we ain't supposed to touch that. We ain't supposed to touch that. What you mean we ain't supposed to touch that? So if you're the director of immigration and you're telling me that some things are out of bounds as far as the law being violated, doesn't that suggest to me why this country is so infiltrated? When it comes to employment of Bahamians in certain areas, and the thing about it is this, you know, we could say all we like about, oh, Bahamians too lazy. Oh, Bahamians come to work, and once they get paid, they ain't coming. I don't care what you think and what you say about what Bahamians are. That's one of the same reasons why we probably don't have Bahamians working on cruise ships in the hotel department. Because all cruise ships got hotel department where they hire waiters, they hire cooks, they hire dishwashers and stewards to clean up the room and they hire all these things. And we got 5-star hotels in this country where only Bahamians are doing those things. And they go to work on time. And they do a damn good job. When I was a busboy, we had waiters that they told me they trained at the Nassau Beach. I was working to the lowest part of this island in the Imperial Dining Room. I had fellas like Lord Bryce and Chris Moss and Ali Marshall and Ants and Henry Wright and let me tell you something. And God bless their souls. Most of them are dead, right? And they were good people, but they were extremely professional. When the people moved from the table, While the people is at the table, they got this little thing look like a spatula knife where they shave it, and they just clean the crumbs off the table and put it in the butter dish and bring it back. And they ain't bringing no coffee to the table unless it's hot. They ain't bringing no water with dirty. They taking everything off the left hand side and putting everything down on the right on the right hand side, vice versa. They doing what professionally supposed to be. And if they see me stepping out of line, I in trouble. Okay, we got another call. I think I got a little too far on this one. But anyway, call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hello, good night, Captain. How are you?
Good night to you, my friend. I am in top shape. Little hotter than the caller, but it ain't start good yet. I getting hot tonight. What's happening?
Awesome. Well, I call to weigh in on the security issue with foreigners working in the security industry in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, this has been going on too long, and I see now that the Ministry of National Security, who's responsible for private security, seems now to really want to address this, and I love to see that.
Well, I hope they are serious in addressing it, because as myself being involved in the security field, we have been saying this for years. We have had several conclaves discussing this and other matters within the security field. And over the years, after the conclave, we didn't want to hide that something is going to take place, and then a few weeks later, it just vanishes away. And now it's getting to the point now where the executive positions in security within the country now are being infiltrated by foreigners. And it's a known fact that the security field is solely for Bahamians. And you go from the guard level straight up now to the executive managers, supervisors. Everybody now is basically a foreigner, and especially on these keys where these cruise ships come in.
Oh yeah.
In the maritime area, where they are seem to be out of the view of the public eye. I mean, it is completely dominated, not just the persons in charge, but even some now the guards now are security on these keys.
That's absolutely true. And guess what, caller? Guess what? I personally trains people in the Bahamas I certify them to become port facility security officers. And I've done training for years. Since 2004, I was training people to be port facility security officers. And very recently, I had to put off a training. I put it off. You know why I put it off? I put it off because I don't feel comfortable certifying these people. People are passing the training, getting the certification, and when they try to get jobs on these private islands, they're already meeting foreigners who working in these places.
Well, I can tell you personal experience on something like that. One of the main reasons that happens is because the person you have to apply through is a foreigner.
Yeah, but the foreigner could do whatever they want. I don't blame them, you know. I blame our authorities who certify these facilities. If I am responsible for certifying you to do something, I can make sure you ain't breaking none of my laws. And if you hiring, you got foreigners. They know who the foreigners are. You got a foreigner here doing a job which we have certified Bahamians to do. I can't give you the certification until you fix that. Let me see your document from immigration. And if you can't show me that, I can hold back on this until you can show me that. And those people will be forced to use Bahamians.
And one of the reasons I said that I hope it just doesn't go by the wayside is because why would the Ministry of National Security need to hold a press conference? Just go and serve the people notice that in 14 days or 30 days, however many days you want to give them, that when you come back, these positions should be filled by Bahamians. We don't need to have a press conference. We don't need to have a seminar. I think they have a seminar set for November 22nd. For what purpose?
Well, the Ministry of National Security...
You are a regulating arm. Send out, you go, do your survey, check all the various companies, find out who's on their employment road, go to these keys where these maritime ships come in, go to these different islands where they have security operations, whether it be aviation security, whether it be hotel security, whether it be medical security, whether it be port security, whether it be basic guard security for businesses. Find out who's there and serve the companies notice and say, these people cannot work, hire Bahamians. And if they don't do it, then fine them. I mean, we drag on things when all we have to do is just basically enforce the rules and the laws that are already on the books. That is already on the book that these industries, or this industry in particular, security, is solely for Bahamians. So why do you need to go and have a seminar? Why do you need to hold a press conference? Just give out the citations and enforce the law.
Yeah, no, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but based on what I understand, with the seminar coming up on, I think it's Friday, I'm not sure that this seminar is about foreign employment in the security industry. This is more about private security in general, safety and security when it comes to private security. I was put in a position where I was able to see some of what it's all about. So I try to defend nobody. You know, I don't do the defend thing too good, right? But I am saying that the way to approach these private islands is through the body responsible for certifying them for security. And the body responsible for certifying them for security, when they go to update their certification, which means they have to have a statement of compliance of a port facility, before that is signed off, they need to make sure that our immigration laws are not being broken by way of security. And whoever these private islands, make these private islands realize that you have to find Bahamians to hire, and they will find Bahamians and hire them. But if you leave it up to them, they don't care about hiring Bahamians.
So that means you're basically saying to me that the agency is responsible for the ones breaking the law for all these many decades.
That's exactly, well, in much decades, because, you know, this security requirement for port facilities just came around in 2004. But from that time to now,
but security on the whole in the country.
Well, security companies are required by law to ensure that every single officer in their private operation attains a license from the immigration, from the Ministry of National Security. So the immigration department, in my opinion, should be doing spot checks and ensure that the people who are hired in immigration or hired in these entities are Bahamians with a work permit from them. Because I'm not sure that the private security industry have the manpower to monitor or address this matter.
They shouldn't have to, because that's why you have the Ministry of National Security that's responsible for issuing the licenses. I don't think those licenses.
No, the Ministry of National Security issue the licenses through this private security section, which has very minimum staff.
Right, but to apply for a license, it should be proven on your application that you are Bahamian.
Yeah. But the thing is, the private security company that hires these non-Bahamians don't even apply for a license for them. They ain't got no license, but they're still using them.
Oh.
You see the problem?
So the law is being breached all around.
Well, the law is, they're getting away with it because there's no enforcement from the immigration department to say these people who employ, and I think immigration department along with the, what you call it, the area where employment, the ministry responsible for employment. I think John Penny used to be in charge of that area at one point. Sometimes they get together and they go on jobs and they address these things. I know of situations where they were going on certain private jobs and making sure that the rank and file, if they were not Bahamians, they had understudy, and if they have an understudy, eventually that person take over. See, that's the way it's set up, and that's the way it's supposed to be. If we don't have a Bahamian who's capable of doing the job, then you hire a Bahamian to understudy that person. That don't even happen. I mean, it's like most other things, you know, and I know most things in the Bahamas is falling apart because we don't enforce our laws.
Well, I hope this matter is addressed, because we have a million little security companies all around this island, and some of these companies, the people they send to do events or to your establishment, some of them can't even speak English.
Well, let's start calling them out. If you know but some, you call. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be your job or my job, but I'm prepared to call them out, you know, because we need to get to the bottom of this for the sake of our kids and grandkids. Anyway, it's a very good call, my brother. Thank you so much for calling out. Another call on the line. Let me don't hold them too long.
Yes, sir.
And you can call back at any time. And thank you for calling.
All right, good show.
Thank you. Maritime Matters. Good evening. Hello. Is that a caller? Not really. Okay. That caller hang up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we move on. That was a very good call. Yes, we have to be concerned as Bahamians in our country that our workplaces are protected in the areas that the government reserved for Bahamians. And if you and me are not going to do it, then who? Because we know most of the authorities, many of the authorities, not most of them now, we got some good authorities, but many of them are on the take. And with the right price, they will turn a blind eye. That's why it's up to us to push it in their faces. You're responsible for this. And if you don't lift a finger to make it happen, you are the one who should be penalized for this. You shouldn't be able to just allow these things to happen. And then we have the construction industry. Now, first of all, we're talking about the transportation industry, the mail boats, and fishing boats. Because, in time gone by, we had a lot of non-Bahamians on fishing boats. And you know what some of them are doing? Some of them were getting married to Bahamian women. They ain't got nothing for these women. All they want is that piece of paper to say they have a spousal permit. And once they get that, they just go and wipe out our fish. And you got some fishing boat owners who used to hire them, even the illegal ones. Because getting a spousal permit don't mean that you could work in some of the areas that are reserved for Bahamians. Doesn't mean that. We have taxis owned by some Bahamians, but having some non-Bahamians drive them to make money and bring them so much money every day. Jitneys, same thing. They know that these people are not Bahamians driving these jitneys or driving their jitneys. But this is an area reserved for Bahamians only when it comes to employment. You should not have non-Bahamians driving jitneys, non-Bahamians driving taxis, because these things are for hire. Tour buses, same thing. It should not happen. And that's water sport equipment like jet skis and parasail, all that included. And if those of us who are in these industries are seeing this happen, and we're not addressing it and not bringing it to the attention of authorities, then we're just as bad. We're just as bad. Boy, I ain't pimping nobody off. No. You ain't pimping nobody off if they're breaking the law. Bring it to the attention of the authorities. My God, look at that. Half of my time went gone. This is not right. This is not right. Anyway, we move on. Construction industry. Foreign employment in the Bahamas. We know what's going on in Baker's Bay. I mean, them Kai Cares videos from back in the day told us you had a whole heap of Mexicans. I think they were from Mexico, were they? Mexicans coming in to rebuild after Hurricane Dorian. Houses. What house we Bahamians can't build? What area in those houses? They bringing in electricians and plumbers and carpenters. And if they continue to bring in these foreigners for these high-end properties at Baker's Bay and Life at Key, and when these hotels are being built and all the rest of that, when are the Bahamians going to get the opportunity to learn these things? You know how those Mexicans learn how to do these things? When projects came to their country and they were working along with people, they learned and they started going to other countries doing it. So while it's happening in our countries, that's the opportunity for our Bahamians, our skilled Bahamians, to get on the cutting edge and learn these things. And we know that when you bring in these foreigners, or even if you use the ones that are locally based, you pay them less than you're going to pay a real skilled Bahamian. So right there, these big money people have a motive. want professional work, but they don't want to pay professional pay to Bahamians. So they bring in people who are just as good or better than our Bahamians and pay them half the price. And we supposed to sit by and just let them do it? Oh no. No, we need to fight this thing, man. So that construction industry, even with local homes. Right now you use a Bahamian with skill, you going around and you get a job somewhere and you look around and you see a building next door being built with no Bahamians on the job. And you be like, boy, I tell you, look what we come to. Because they doing it cheaper. They hiring cheaper labor. And they just taking over the place. Anyway, it's a maritime show. Let's keep it maritime, my boy heard me to say. Right? So, all these industries that's supposed to be reserved for Bahamians only are being infiltrated big time by non-Bahamians employees, eh? And most of us are sitting by and just watching it happen. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Good afternoon, Captain Ben. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, my friend. I am in top shape and getting better. How are you?
I'm good. How's Auntie this afternoon?
Say again?
How's Auntie this afternoon?
Boy, Annie Mae, no man. I talked to Annie Mae yesterday. Annie Mae in top shape. I couldn't talk to her today. I was so busy trying to prepare for the show. But she in top shape. She told me she went to church yesterday and everything working out good. Thank you very much.
But I was listening with interest. I came in the car late, so I was listening with interest. I caught the part where you were talking about hiring Bahamians and all that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
While I agree with you, there's also a double-edged sword. Not many Bahamians want to work.
Well, I said earlier that that's a cry. When you go to our major establishments, like our big hotels and whatnot, how much people has been missing work who work for Atlantis, and who work for Bahamas, and who work for Albany? The thing is, these people finding a way to bring the wages level down by using foreigners. So Bahamians might not want to work for the peanuts they're trying to pay because the cost of living is so high in the Bahamas.
But you must take into account, and I can say it, the former Prime Minister, Barry Christmas, my cousin, I can say that. He negotiated a deal for Bahamas where he took the people, according to law, you're entitled to an hour's lunch. Those people don't get an hour lunch. But as Prime Minister, he allowed that to be negotiated. See, the problem is, whether you like it or not, the corruption is so high in our country in terms of we have lost time. We blame Jacob and Esau. We say Esau sold for a bowl of porridge. But when the administrators of our country, they're not the government, they're the administrators. The people of the country are the government. So when the administrators sell short, the people, because they want a piece of the pie, they lose their integrity. They're not interested in standing for the right. I applaud you tonight. I commend you because you're making the clarion call. The call is going to fall on deaf ears because this is my boy and he's in the house, so he can give me a couple contracts by way of illegal means, and I'm going to take that. And I couldn't care less what happens to the next man. My work is going to be short and substandard. People condemn the Haitian community, but when those persons come here to work, they're working for a goal. They're sending money back home to their families, either to come here or to improve their lifestyle.
I agree with you 1,000 times. And guess what? I can scream, and if you scream, and if some other people scream, boy, the screams can start to be heard. But if nobody scream, they will just railroad and continue, and sooner or later, Bahamians can't find a job in their own country.
Well, to a great extent. You know, I paid $15,000 to immigration advance and Mexican workers, and I forgot to get my receipt. Never got it. But I had 5 Bahamian contractors that ripped me off. 5 Bahamian contractors. I'm really so sad about it. 2 of them were pastors. I say this to their shame. I openly say it because what amazes me, and you know me, I come from the defense force, you know me. So,
man, you know I know who this is.
Discouraging this country is that sometimes these pastors stand up in church crying the Lord and worship God. The other day I was watching a WhatsApp thing, when I saw some pastors in the United States work $100 have parishioners in their churches that are hurting, and they're not even lending a hand to say, help them. During the pandemic in the Bahamas, you know, it caused me to laugh. I know it's maritime, but we did the construction. The pastor sent out notice. I want the members of this church to know that we've taken out an account, had this bank, and please send your tithes and your offering. I'm like, my God. The people ain't working.
No hard.
Coming in, but it's still interesting collecting their tithes and offering.
Yeah, no hard. But you know, my mommy always tell me, touch not God's anointed. So I ain't touching that, right? But I mean, we really, I mean, these pastors have a lot of influence. If they could get their followers to do things like I'm saying now, call it out when you see it.
But Cap, how can you call me out if I'm the member of Parliament? You beg me for large tracts of land for your church and some for your children. How the hell do you call me out publicly?
Man, I ain't touching you on that, but I leave that alone.
You better keep your mouth shut.
Yes, sir. You have.
I just gave you something that don't go there. So the problem is when the church has a dirty hand and a dirty conscience, the country goes foul.
Yeah, well, that's one part of it, and then the corruption, like you were saying earlier, is another part of it, and then we the whole society seem to have lost the ability to take a stand. You know, sometimes we just gotta stand up, man.
Well, we've lost our moral compass.
Exactly. Exactly.
We've lost our moral compass.
Yeah. So
I get in trouble everywhere I go because people have a recommendation.
You ain't.
I said no problem, sir. I don't want it. He says you're the first Bahamian since I've been here who refused.
Yeah.
I felt embarrassed.
Well, you and I are alike. I mean, I've been, well, as you know, back in the day in the force. I never used to play around with these people who trying to do foolishness in the force, and they didn't like me. That's why I used to get pushed all over the place and don't get promoted. But I couldn't get you go through the same thing. Yeah, but anyway, I got another call on the line. So, thank you so much for calling, and thank you so much for continuing to listen to Maritime Matters, and continue to take care of your good self, my friend.
I will, sir.
Roger. Maritime Matters, calling you on the line. Let's hear you. Hello, Maritime Matters. Okay, I think that one going too. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we had some really good calls. I mean, I just halfway through my litany of what we need to talk about, how we can make this country better. And we've had quite a few good calls already. So with that, we're going to run to our first break, because it ain't look like we have time to take no more break. When we get back, we are going to delve into some other stuff. So far, we've talked about opportunities for Bahamians in the maritime industry, where we talk about exposure to maritime. Boy, we need to go deeper into that. I hope we get back to that today. And we talk about unqualified people against qualified people, why tankers like that are still around when a lot of defense force boats are long past and gone, although they only half the life. We got foreign employment in the Bahamas, the transportation industry, security industry, and construction industry. 3 of the industries of many that's supposed to be reserved for Bahamians only, and they've been so infiltrated that Bahamians can hardly get jobs in those areas right now. And so we'll go to our break, and when we return, we will talk about waste oil disposal in the Bahamas. We'll talk about renewable energy in the Bahamas. We'll talk about what they're doing in London when they talk about go green and how much people got to pay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hold on as we take our break. We'll be right back to you. I am Captain Glenn Bain. The number to call again is 326-8255. If you want to run this discussion, we will be right back.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain, and we are on a roll tonight. I feeling good. What the next song say? I feel like whining. What Shine to say? Somebody feel like whining, right? But I feel like talking tonight. So we've been discussing opportunities for Bahamians in the maritime industry, where we talk about a little bit about, well, we ain't talk much about these people like Godites Maritime and the pilots in Freeport and myself and Shipmates Maritime and you know, some people who went off to maritime school, some who still on some of these like RCCL ships and Disney ship doing security officers at a watch, and some are now mates and that type of thing, and we got a young lady that made it all the way to safety officer on a whole big cruise ship. So we got a lot to talk about when it comes to opportunities for Bahamians in the hotel department on these cruise ships. I mean, I start talking about bulk carriers and other ships like container ships and stuff like that, yeah. Because we got look at all these ships that come here like tropical shipping and Berry K and why would they need foreigners on those ships? We got Bahamians who could take those roles, man. Come on, let's do our thing. Then we talk about foreign employment in the Bahamas. We got some areas reserved for Bahamians only, like the transportation industry, the mail boats and the fishing boats, and then the taxis and jitneys and tour buses, and that should be Bahamianized. No foreigners should be working in those areas because no foreigners should be able to get a work permit to work in those areas. And you know the Immigration Act say, anybody that hire one of these people have to pay this big fine. Put them in court, make them pay, they'll stop. Eventually they'll stop. Glenn Bain tell you that. Now, security industry, port security, we got all these private islands, especially that these cruise ships own, and they don't want to hire Bahamians. So what they do? They pay peanuts and take somebody off their ship and say, we can make you the PFSO on this facility, and that way can be a deputy, and we can keep you all and feed you all and all that, and continue to pay them their ship salary. That's what they do, you know. Because they know if they hire Bahamian, they get paid real money for Bahamian doing that professional service in this country. And then we got, well, Carnival coming up. I ain't think Carnival into that, because I think Carnival know better than that, right? But anyway, we talk about, again, employment in the construction industry. We got some of these hotels, even in the security area. They want to have foreigners top and bottom. And we say that got to cut out. Me, Glenn Bain, said that got to cut out. And we can do whatever it takes to make it cut out. And we got places like Baker's Bay and Life at Key and stuff, bringing in all these high-tech people that we have qualified Bahamians to work in those areas and do those things, but they don't want to pay what they're supposed to pay in a country like this, which I think we're number 5 in the world when it comes to expense. Right? And they want to pay us, they want to pay those peanuts. And chat, boy, you can imagine how much they charge to Airbnb these places out. Some of them are charging like $5,000 to $15,000 a week just for Airbnb, and they don't want to pay the Bahamian professional to come and do the work professionally. Look here, we need to wake up and get this thing fixed. Now, again, the number to call if you want it on this discussion: 326-8255. Waste oil disposal in the Bahamas. You know, just yesterday, I was approached by a good friend of mine. I mean, a good friend of mine. And he said to me, "So, boy, Glenn, you see what they did on Porter's Key Dock? You know, I know all kind of things on Porter's Key Dock. So I say, boy, tell me what you're talking about. The boat sinking? He say, no. They stacking up a whole heap of waste oil from these mail boats and fishing boats. They stacking them in containers, and they just have Porter's Key loaded with them waste oil. Calling you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I heard you touch, well, a couple things, but I heard you touch on something about the mail boats who hire foreign crew.
Oh, yeah, I touched big on that because I see that going on left, right, and center.
But I want you to look at something. You maybe never noticed this. All the mail boats who hire foreign crew, and some of them that are mail by, are not even Bahamian registered.
Well, hold on. Let me just fix that Bahamian registered part because, you know, we got to make sure the audience understand this registration thing. You do not need to be Bahamian registered to operate domestically in the Bahamas if you are Bahamian and you own that vessel. Your registration is a choice for the owner. But now, if you want to do domestic transport in this country from one island to the next, you carrying freight from one island and going to another, you need to have all Bahamian crew.
But I guess you missed something I just said.
Yeah, but you said that, but you also started to say that some of them who have their boats registered with another country. See, that registration is only for international transport. So that don't apply to domestic. Yeah, but I'm saying to you, the mail bag part, yes, I agree with you. They need to have Bahamian, anytime they're doing domestic voyages between two Bahamian islands, they need to have Bahamians. And the thing about it is,
I think the ones that Porter P doing who got the foreign crew.
I agree with you. Most of them, just about all of them are foreign crew. And I know no mail boat now, but they ain't got foreign crew.
No, there's plenty mail boats with a foreign crew.
Which one? You name the one.
All the ones that go to the south.
To the south?
Yeah.
There was one that was just to the south and not one Bahamian was on it. Anyway.
But I don't know which one that is. I frequent Porter P off a lot, and I know all the boats. I ain't gonna call the names of them, but all the boats that go to the northern island, a lot of them are foreign crew.
Yeah, and you got if you go on Porter's Key, you look at those mail boats. I want you to take the time out this week when you get a chance, and I just want you to find one mail boat other than the captain's seat that don't have no foreign crew.
There's a couple more, but that's irrelevant. I mean,
yeah,
what I'm saying is
let's keep talking.
I feel as if a boat that is carrying the government mail by inter-island should at least be registered in the Bahamas.
They are registered to do domestic trade by the Port Department, all of them. So the registration, you see there's two types of registration now. You get your boat registered under the Boat Registration Act to do any plying for hire within the Bahamas. But now if you want to go to the U.S., you need to get your boat registered beyond just the Port Department.
Very true.
And that's where a lot of them are going to Panama, and some of them going to, and I can tell you why they go into those countries, because the Bahamas Maritime Authority refused to register them. Now, I happen to know this.
Some of what you just said is not true.
Which part is not true?
My first very boat that I built in 1989 was registered under the Bahamas Maritime Authority.
Yeah, but I bet you if you build one now, they wouldn't register it.
You know what your officers on your former place of employment told me?
Yeah.
They don't know what registration that is.
See, they don't know what registration that is?
Switched from the Bahamas Maritime Authority to the Water Skiing Act.
No. The Water Skiing Act is really for non-commercial vessels. Now we got the Boat Registration Act, by which all mail boats are registered. Once you apply for hire within the Bahamas, you're supposed to get a registration, and the reason why you have that.
I'm talking about the fishing industry. I'm in the fishing industry.
Okay, now fishing is totally different because fishing is not applying for hire.
2 boats was registered with the Bahamas Maritime Authority back when Irma Ramin was the managing director.
Yes, I know about that because when Irma Ramin was back in those days when they were the Department of Maritime Affairs, all of the mail boats were automatic, and as a matter of fact, it was the law had it in there that if your vessel is already registered with the Port Department, you don't even have to pay the BMA for your registration. And then in '95, when they rushed in and became the Bahamas Maritime Authority, they confirmed the law and changed it so that Bahamians now have to pay to register under the Bahamas Maritime Authority. Right? They also changed in that law, which said under the Merchant Shipping Act with the Maritime Affairs Department, it said any captain or mate or anybody that needs a license and you are Bahamian, you can get your license once you qualify somehow and don't pay a dime. And then they changed that to make the Bahamian officers pay just like the foreign officers. Man, these are things that I know.
Well, what I do know is, in 1989, when I built my first fish boat, I registered under the Bahamas Maritime Authority because it was said to me that if I'm going to go into foreign ports, that is the better registration.
And that was the truth. And that's still the truth.
And I remember pulling up the Prince George dock where we had this. Remember when every boat had to come to Prince George dock to clear?
Yep, I remember that very well.
I pulled up there and one of your former officers in a white suit, along with another boat who was also registered under the Bahamas Maritime Authority, came down to us that our boat wasn't registered.
But I see.
You better be talking, Kaka.
See, the thing is, all that changed in '94, '95 when the Maritime Affairs Department became the Maritime Authority. Because all they were concerned about is money. They didn't want nothing to do with Bahamian, what happened in the Bahamas no more, because they moved to London, the office to London. You remember that? And everything changed. You know, the people who had the I don't know if you probably would have had one of these, what you call a home trade license for a captain. Right? All Bahamians who were running boats at the time, like my friend Captain Black and Captain Bill Williams, and they were able to, because they were experienced navigators, just get a 800-ton home trade license and for free, right? And when they brought in the STCW 95 requirements where people had to go certified, you know, they didn't want to renew their 800-ton license. I had to get involved and just let them do some like advanced firefighting and radar observation so that they could maintain their 800-ton license. These people that came in to run the BMA wanted nothing to do with Bahamians and didn't want to lift a hand to help. No, you know how much Bahamians I had to personally call the London office and make sure even guys who went off to university make sure they got their license.
Let me go to another section. I heard you touch on this earlier.
Yes, sir.
That Bahamian or that non-Bahamian working on commercial fishing vessels.
Oh yeah.
We fought and we fought for this for 20 plus years to make that not happen.
Right.
We thought we got rid of the problem. The Prime Minister is on record in Long Island saying that commercial fishing is reserved for Bahamians only.
Exactly.
I could send you that video. And of course that happened under Michael Pintal as the Minister of Fisheries, where we were able to get them off of Bahamian vessels.
Right.
The administration changed.
Oh gosh.
And they're back now in full force.
Boy,
They have a different loop now. They have a different loop now. Back then, and you talk about an immigration department.
And the policy don't ever change.
That is the worst enemy to the Bahamas. That's the immigration department.
And I could agree with you to a large extent on that, because it's all about money in there.
You had back in the day 10 engineers on one fish boat. Think what that would have like.
Call I see you on the line. I'll be with you as soon as me. 10 foreigners.
10 engineers. That was the loophole they used to use back then.
Also, they say they are all engineers.
Commercial fishing boat. 10 engineers. Think what that would have.
10 10 engineers for one boat. Man, you don't have 10 engineers on cruise ships.
But that was what I was telling you about the immigration department.
Wow.
And now, then they went to the spousal permit thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, half of them now, there's a lot of foreign people, only from one island, you know. Back then we used to say that the Bahamian woman only like fishermen. Why didn't get some doctors and lawyers? But all the fishermen came to marry Bahamian women from the island to the south.
We know why.
Now they got another thing now where this government has issued them now passports. Some of them now own their own boats.
So they are Bahamians.
Exactly.
Wow. Boy, what money can't do, eh?
I gotta get you. I gotta get your number. I'll talk to you offline.
Yeah, please, man. I'm 359-1424. You can have my. You call me anytime. 359-1424. You can call me anytime.
359. Let me look at that. 359.
1424.
Hey, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling, man. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, my apology for holding you so long, man. Everything going well.
No, you ain't gotta apologize. Just write my number down and send me $5 a line. Top up, that's all. We can solve that problem. Be too bad. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
The job wouldn't be it.
What's up?
I'm happy you did a little touch on for a ski dock. I don't know if it's by deliberation or deliberate what they're doing to water ski in order to satisfy the fellas cross the water side, because you know they've been always trying to get people to move off water ski. But I was on water ski dock last week, Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was appalled.
Man, every time I go there, I get appalled.
The garbage, the 2 garbage bins overloaded, garbage all on the ground, the stench, the stinkness, man, Captain Bay.
Wow.
I was ashamed. Who is responsible for picking up those garbage on their own time?
I mean, what do we need to do to get it right, man? Because, you know, one time ago, our key, before it really became ISPS, Prince George Wharf, before it became ISPS, all these places look like dumps, right? Porter's Key is an ISPS. And I guess because it's not, nobody lifting a finger to make sure certain things are in place, you know? It's a big filth. It's a big filth.
I don't know what to do, but this entire country needs to be turned upside down, shake out, revamp, and start all over again, because something is definitely wrong with this place, Captain May.
Yeah, we got to start protesting somehow, man. You know.
Yeah.
But we Bahamian people don't like to protest. I know many protests were called. I go on to them, and they only a handful of people. I was like, man, you think these people interested in this country? You call, I'm Lincoln being to call 1,000 protests, and you know, sometimes some people, but boy, most of the time, you know, there's 1% of Bahamians. If we got 400,000 Bahamians, 10% is 40,000, 1% is 1,000, right?
Yeah.
So we don't even have 200 or 300.
So that's the problem. See,
that's our problem right there.
Me doing the forensics evaluation of this population, you say 400,000, but fast forward to the 400,000 of who?
Well, that's another story. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
But we get at least 250 to 300,000, eh?
You sure?
Well, I would like to be sure.
Yeah, but I know you from school time, and we had been friends for a time, and you was always a man on top of things, but I don't think you sure about what you said.
I can't tell you I'm sure, but that's what I guess.
That's the problem.
All right, sir.
And what is what no more around the place, and if you give someone paper, their paperwork, you think they coming out to protest against you?
Yeah, that's another thing. But you know, call. Anyway, I got two other callers on the line.
Yeah, okay.
I thank you so much for calling, and you know, continue to listen, man, and take care of yourself.
Yeah, man.
All right, sir. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello. I guess those 2 callers are gone. All right. right, ladies and gentlemen. So we back to our waste oil disposal in the Bahamas. And that caller just now made a lot of sense when he talked about the condition of Porter's Key. You know, sometimes we talk about the vessels sinking on the dock. We talk about all those old vessels like tugboats and old mailboats who don't even run no more. And everybody just sit on Porter's Key and nobody doing nothing about it, eh? One day we'll get it right. And the garbage spilling all over the place. But, you know, again, we need to pay more attention to these things. We need to manage these areas. And I don't know what it takes. Maybe you need to get a private consortium to get a contract to manage Porter's Key. A private consortium that knows that they're only going to be paid if the job is properly done. We could do a lot with Porter's Key, and we could talk about that for a long time. But if it continues to be under the remit of a government department or numerous government departments, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Ag and Fish, Ministry of Transport, you know, that consortium is going to do what government consortiums do. And I wouldn't want to say what that is. But anyway, we move on to the waste oil disposal in the Bahamas. Because my friend told me that, you know, at Porter's Key they were stacking up the waste oil. You know this waste oil? When the fella change your car, when they service your car, and the gallon of oil that they drain out so they can put fresh oil in, that's waste oil. What they just do with that? What your mechanic just do with all of that oil? Because if they service 10 cars a day, and that's likely to happen in a lot of areas like where, you know, they establish car service in places. What do they do with that 10 gallons of oil, of waste oil, every day? That after a month, that's 30,300 gallons times 12, 3,630, that's 3,600 gallons at the end of the year. How do they dispose of that waste oil? All those mailboats and other vessels that use Porter's Key in and out, when they change the oil and they come and they put it in drums and stuff like that and rest it on the dock, what does happen to that waste oil over time? Some of that obviously seep back into the earth, some might seep in the water and all the rest of that. But the question is, what could they do with their waste oil? Could they carry that waste oil to the government dump site where they could take that oil off them and secure it someplace out there for a fee? And even if they take it from them and secure it out there, what are they going to do with it? They can't put it in the ground like how they do the solid waste. We don't have anywhere in the country now. One time ago, and all of us who deal with oil would know, right? When BPL had those bunker C big generators, slow turning, that they could have mixed that old oil with some fuel oil, and that could take all kind of garbage, right, and still turn, and no problem, ain't doing nothing. Those days gone, because now BPL for the most part replace all of them slow turning bunker C engines with natural gas engines, which is still, as we know, fossil fuel, but they can't take waste oil to run those natural gas systems. So they don't need it no more. And if they don't need it, nobody in the country really needs, because there ain't no real, nobody have no big engine, slow turning engine that take bunker C. Those days gone. So what happens with the waste oil that is generated within this country? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And I asked my friend, I said, man, we gotta have a solution first. We gotta say a barge is gonna come in here once a month that takes those waste oil for a fee, whether it be $20 a gallon, $5 a gallon, or whatever it needs to be, because it costs to get rid of. And you know, he told me, he said, boy, I believe. See, he believe in the U.S. What they do is they incinerate the oil. In other words, they burn it up. I said, well, if they do that, then all the carbon get back in there. And he said something very interesting to me. He said, boy, Glenn, these people are sophisticated now. They got carbon capture systems on the exhaust of those incinerators, where they capture the carbon, turn it into liquid or solid or whatever the case may be, and store it hundreds of feet underneath the earth, where it come from. Now you could do that if it's solid, because under every tree out there, carbon is stored. Under every seagrass in our seagrass meadows, carbon is stored. So that's the natural way to deal with carbon. You capture it and you store it, and it wouldn't get in there to block up the whole environment and cause global heating and all the rest of the stuff that the whole world is trying to get rid of. And boy, I think we can talk about that next week. There's so much on that right now with shipping and maritime that excuse me, I was scared to touch it. I was like, this is just too deep. I don't know if my listeners can follow much of this, although we could break it down for you. But man, it's just so much happening out there. I hope next week we get to talk with that stuff. But again, what are we going to do with this hazard? Because we know that 15, 20 years down the road from today, we will no longer have what we call internal combustion engines, or ICE, internal combustion engines. They're going to be ruled out. As a matter of fact, cars, by the year 2035, they can stop making cars with internal combustion engine and have electric vehicles only. That's happening. We know that recently in the U.S., former President Donald Trump was re-elected, and President Trump is saying, drill, baby, drill. What he's saying is, dig the oil out of the ground and let's use that. I ain't worrying about what the United Nations and this global warming people them say it. I'm not going to contribute any more money to that. Let's use our oil, man. Because what people got to realize too, though, is just to the north of the U.S., Canada, they're not going to drill, baby, drill. They're not going to be continuing fossil fuel. They can start bringing in, and they already started. They have a lot of electric vehicles, and they starting to get wind farms, so that they could wean themselves off this fossil fuel. That's what the whole of Europe doing. That's what the whole of the Asia doing. They are going along with the program. Now, remember now, President Trump is only going to be in office for 4 years. So, while the U.S., the Bahamas, and all countries in the world have pledged during COP 2015, COP 29 we on now, I think it was COP 10 or something back in 2015, when they all pledged that by 2030 they would have done certain things to mitigate the introduction of fossil fuel to the environment. So President Trump knows that he's going to be out of office before 2030. Follow? I'll be with you in a second. He knows he's going to be out of office before 2030. So that ain't going to be his problem no more. So he can afford to say, drill, baby, drill, eh? And our president today, our Prime Minister today, Prime Minister Davis, is online and pushing and already said that by 2030 all government buildings should be solarized. He said that by 2030 all government vehicles will be electric vehicles. And he said this from 2 years ago, right? Or was it last year? I think it was 2 years ago. And We don't know what's going to happen in 2026. Whether he's going to repeat as prime minister and have to go with what he said he could do. Or if he's not prime minister and another party comes in. If they're going to continue, but man, governments are continue. So once we made that pledge, whoever comes in has the obligation to fulfill that, eh? So all I'm saying is the world, regardless of what President Donald Trump or Prime Minister, whoever comes into the Bahamas or Jamaica or wherever, the world is ridding itself from fossil fuel. So even if you drill, baby, drill and continue, people ain't gonna need it no more. Because the main areas are the vehicles. And, caller, you're on Maritime Matters, hello.
Yes, just catching a piece of your program. We should all be concerned about the environment. We only got one world, one earth. But, let's be real at the same time. You're very, very critical of America or President Trump, whatever it is. But what were the main polluters in the world, the two biggest ones? It's China and India.
Absolutely.
China and India have favorite world status until 2035, which means while America and the Bahamas and Europe will have to get in line with the world order and laws about pollution, China and India have it until 2035. China is opening up a new coal-powered factory every 2 to 3 weeks. They produce more carbon than any other nation in the world. So why should the rest of the world spend all this money, invest all this money, time, and energy in trying to clean up the environment while China, who is richer than most of them, has this favorite world status? Isn't that frustrating and confusing?
Yeah, but they have this favored world status until 2035, and most countries, right? Most countries.
No, just them.
No, not just them. Not just them, because what I'm saying to you, the deadline is 2050, where there will be no. You can't even use fossil fuel if you want to, unless you carbon capture it and store it. Right? 2050. It was 2040, they moved to 2050. So China understands that. India understands that. Europe understands that. President Donald Trump understands that. And I am only saying what President Donald Trump say he's going to do. I'm not putting nothing on it.
But I'm saying, shouldn't they be made to get in line like everyone else?
Oh, they are getting in line. They are doing things all the time. And if you listen to my show next week, I can tell you a lot of things China is doing to mitigate carbon going into the environment. A lot of things.
But no, they're not. They're opening up new coal factories, plants every couple of weeks.
Yeah, but
they're considered. Here's the most laughable thing about this. They're considered developing nations. That's a bunch of BS. They're world leaders. They're not developing, so they can't have any favored status. Why should the rest of us have to suffer because of what they're doing and can't get in line?
I agree.
Do you know how electric batteries are made? And do you know who's the main producer of electric batteries for vehicles and other solar products?
What's China?
China. It's China.
Yes, it is.
So of course they would be more inclined to push people to use more batteries and solar power because they're becoming richer and richer.
But now you gotta remember they're also using more electronic vehicles in China as well.
But they're producing more carbon than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, because they're the most populated country. So is India. That's a no-brainer, eh? If you're the most populated country, aren't you going to be the most emitters?
Yes, but at the same time, shouldn't you be controlled like the rest of the world?
Yes, and they will be bought in line. I mean, at the end of the day.
By 2035, right?
No, by 2050. It ain't 2035. It's 2050.
2050. That's 26 years from now.
That's what it is. That's what the world order is for the United Nations. That's the mandate. Mind you, they have stages where you got to do certain things, and all countries are required to do these certain things because they're all signing off on them.
So why should they be given developing nation status. This is so laughable. It's all has to do with into politics, into these things.
Well, I agree with you. You have politics and everything.
China pays that one. When you know everybody's on the side who gets paid.
You're absolutely right. I mean, manipulation is part of the world order, as we know. And I can't knock you for that. And you're absolutely right. But again, based on all the information that I'm seeing in the maritime sector, whereas Chinese are actually building cruise ships that are going to be running on methanol. So I can't say China's not coming along with it, right? Based on what they're doing. They produce more electronic vehicles than anywhere else in the world, and they're shipping them all over the place.
They're also producing more nuclear stuff. They're also producing more nuclear battleships. They're also surpassing American military might, and it should scare the living shit out of all of us.
Excuse your language, but I know you're frustrated, right? I say excuse that language, but I know you're frustrated. But
okay, it should scare the crap out of all of us. Under the last U.S. administration, they would let them have their way. Iran, Iraq, all of these people would let them have their way. You know, I'm not a big Trump fan, but I thank God the other person didn't win, because it would have been a disaster. Anyway,
I take that back what I had to say about President Trump, because I see that catch you on under the car. But thank you so much for calling. You had the last say. The show is 1 minute away from over. We actually 1 minute over. So I hope you listen next week, and I hope you call in again so that because we can be talking more about this energy stuff.
All right, I listen when I can. Periodically, you have a good show. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, sir. And that is our final call, ladies and gentlemen. As we bring our show to conclusion, I say good night again to my good old Annie Mae. My producer, Mr. Craig Gibson, has kept me on the ball today. Thank you so much, Craig. And ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for always continuing to listen to Maritime Matters. I thank those critical, crucial callers. I mean, they made the show tonight. I stirred up a little bit, but those callers made the show tonight. And my sponsors, Bahamas Maritime Connection, 101 Pharmacy, Island Care Pharmacy. Thank you so much for keeping the show going. And I have a secret sponsor. I can't tell you who that one. They want to remain secret, but they help us along very well. Thank you so much, secret sponsor. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, Maritime Matters. Tick, 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 tick. Out.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, look like nothing's gonna come my way. high road, sitting on a darker bed, wasting time.
At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection. At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at